Now, Arkansas's most watched sports show, Hooten's Arkansas Football.
Hello and welcome to Hooten's Arkansas Football. Tonight from the Marketplace Grill, a great place to eat before or after the game on Friday or Saturday. We'll talk more about the Marketplace coming up in the next 30 minutes here on Hooten's Arkansas Football. But we want to get to the highlights. A bunch of games from this fifth week of the Arkansas high school football season. And we're going to begin with Class 7A and 6A highlights. And they're brought to you by First Security Bank.
Let's begin with Hooten's preseason #1 team, Bentonville, on homecoming night, playing host to Fort Smith Northside. And Bentonville in the black with the big connection. Ryan Isabel to Nathan Hughes, and Hughes is gone to the happy place. Those two would connect 2 more times for touchdowns, and Bentonville beats Northside for the second straight year. Final score, Tigers 35, Northside 34. Fayetteville, fresh off its win at Northside, but it's time to get your purple paws together. Springdale in town. Fayetteville looking to avenge 2 straight losses in the Battle of the Bulldogs and getting it done early. Renardo Mahone takes the pitch for the touchdown. Fayetteville up 7-0 early, but this was a great ball game. In the second half, the biggest play of the year. Fayetteville blocks the punt, and Van Bruner is going to scoop and score. The big Bruner put Fayetteville up 21-7. Springdale would fight back and have a chance to win it, though, down by only 5 when Texas Longhorn recruit Zach Penalto fumbles. Final score, Fayetteville 27, Springdale 22. At Fort Smith Southside, the Rebels lucky to beat Van Buren last week, taking on undefeated Rogers. The Mounties looking for their first trip to the playoffs since 1997. And quarterback Cody Kirby is staying healthy. He completed 3 first-quarter passes for touchdowns, including this one to Reed Ivy. That put Rogers up 21-0. But just like last week, the Rebels would rally. This time, though, they come up short. Final score, Rogers 28, Southside 22. Little Rock Central's defense had given up just 2 touchdowns before Russellville rode into Quigley Stadium on Friday night, and the Tigers showing some offense to go with that D. Charles Clay going 15 yards to the end zone for a Central touchdown, but looky here, the Cyclones come right back. Junior quarterback Blake Humphrey to Derek Owens. Russellville scores on Central, that tied it at 7, but Central threw a shutout the rest of the way. Final score, Tigers 35, Russellville 7. North Little Rock wearing the blue and putting its 3-game winning streak on the line against Conway. Conway's got a safety, and the Wampus Cats were up on the charging Wildcats 2-0. But North Little Rock can air it out. More than 200 yards on the night, including this 55-yard bomb to Brett Moncrief. That made it 7-2. And just a little bit later, the charging Wildcats defense does some work. Marquise Lewis is going to scoop and score. And North Little Rock hands Conway its second blowout loss of the season. Final score, North Little Rock 45, Conway 8. Now we'll get to the Class 6A highlights in a moment. First, here's Hooten's Arkansas Football Class 7A rankings. Fayetteville stays on top, but barely, by knocking off Springdale, which beat Bentonville with 10 seconds to go last week. Bentonville moves back up to number 3 after downing Northside for the second straight year. Number 5, Little Rock Central is undefeated, so is the Rogers Mounties. But Rogers has been 5-0 before under Ronnie Peacock and not made the playoffs. This year may be different, though, for the Mounties. After beating Fort Smith Southside on Friday night, North Little Rock hasn't lost since its season opener at Texarkana, and Bryant's only loss of the year was to Southside. Harbor won its first game in a month and moves back into the top 10. The Wildcats blew out Van Buren, which coulda, shoulda beat Southside a week ago. And this all gets messy from here on. Russellville's number 12. There's Conway, which cleaned Cabot's clock, which barely beat Little Rock Catholic. The Jacksonville Red Devils scored a couple of late touchdowns last week at Jan Crow Stadium to beat Mountain Home Friday night. Jacksonville needing the same scenario against Jonesboro. The Hurricane up 10-7 in the third quarter when David Terrell slips in for another Jonesboro touchdown. And a little bit later, it's Jonesboro quarterback Delta Cleary hitting Chris Parks in the end zone as Jonesboro snaps a 2-game losing skid. Final score, Hurricane 22, Jacksonville 7. The Sheridan Yellow Jackets wearing the white and looking for their second win of the year against Parkview and showing some concentration on the pass play. That sets up Yellow Jacket quarterback Ben Thomas for the quarterback sneak. Sheridan was up 21-0, and the Yellow Jacket defense held Parkview to 68 yards in the first half and a season low of 6 points. Final score, Sheridan 35, Parkview 6. A monster crowd watched West Memphis hold off Marion in the first meeting of the Crittenden County Schools since 1980. So the Blue Devils hold on to the number 1 spot, then it's Texarkana. Marion has another big one next week against number 5 Forest City. Lake Hamilton has won 4 games this year, including 2 in a row since losing to number 7 Jacksonville. As you saw earlier, the Red Devils lost to Jonesboro. Watson Chapel's number 8. Sylvan Hills drops to 9 after losing at Mountain Home, and Benton rounds out the top 10. Class 6A is just a mess. Sheridan's number 11, then it's Mountain Home, WYNNE-SEARCY, WYNNE-El Dorado, and Little Rock Hall at number 15.
Why don't cheerleaders think Hooten's football is number 1?
Now, more of Hooten's Arkansas football, brought to you by Sonic.
Everybody wants to know, well, boy, you take that 3.5 hour, but that don't matter about a bus ride. It ain't ever mattered to us about a bus ride. We'll go anywhere and play anybody. 5-0 in 48 minutes. Are you with me? Yes, sir. 5-0. If you're ready, get them on. Let's go.
Siloam Springs made the 3.5 hour bus ride to Greenbrier Friday night and then throttled the boys in blue. Siloam Springs scored on its opening drive. Tyler Ivy taking the handoff for just 6 of Siloam Springs' 39 first half points. Final score, 5-0, Siloam Springs 39, Greenbrier 14. The Bologna Eagles taking on top 10 ranked Little Rock Christian and showing a little can-do early. That's Jonathan Cantu for Bologna, putting the Eagles up 7-0, and it was all Bologna early. Sophomore Zach Moore's first catch of the year. It's good for another Bologna touchdown. But Little Rock Christian would rally with its passing game. Nick Smallwood making the big play for Christian, and the Warriors had a chance to win this in the final minute, but Bologna's Nathan Paul intercepted the pass in the end zone, and Bologna hangs on. Final score, Eagles 19, Little Rock Christian 16. Undefeated Pulaski Academy in the blue showcasing its high-powered offense against Robinson. The Bruins with plenty of weapons, including this guy, Broderick Green, with the catch and run 40 yards to the house. PA's up 7-zip. A little later, Green's teammate won't be outdone. Stephen Lux, the quarterback. He's committed to Texas Tech. He completed 17 of 21 passes for 299 yards, 4 touchdowns as PA rips Robinson. Final score, Bruins 42, Robinson 14. Here's Hooten's Arkansas football Class 5A rankings. Greenwood has scored at least 7 touchdowns in 2 of its past 3 games. Wynn's ranked number 2 and Magnolia's 3. Magnolia plays host to number 5 Camden Fairview next week. Camden Fairview is averaging more than 40 points per game. Harrison is number 6, then it's Hope and Batesville. The Pioneers have a date with WYNNE in 2 weeks. Siloam Springs defense is stingy, and Bologna rounds out the top 10. Then it's Morrilton, Whitehall, Mills, Little Rock Christian, and Robinson. Alma is down to 16, then it's Nettleton at 17. The Raiders are in prime playoff position after beating Blytheville. Beatty's number 18, then it's Blytheville, Monticello, Greene County Tech, West Helena, Lakeside, and Hot Springs at number 24. Hot Springs had lost 28 games in a row, but have won 3 times this season. Coming up next, more of Hooten's Arkansas football. Highlights from Class 4A are next.
Now, more of Hooten's Arkansas football, brought to you by Baptist Health Orthopedic Center.
You gotta believe. You gotta believe. No matter what happens, no matter what's going on, you gotta believe that you're going to win this ball game.
Undefeated Heber Springs, believing it had a chance against number 1 Stuttgart, and Heber put the pressure on Stuttgart early. Linebacker Tanner Tubbs stops the Ricebirds' opening drive with this interception and return deep into Stuttgart territory, but the Panthers couldn't cash in, throwing their own interception, and Stuttgart would take advantage. Quarterback Joseph Lockwood hits a wide-open Seth Allison, and the transfer from Nettleton gives Stuttgart an early 7-0 lead. And the bad breaks would continue for Heber Springs. Stuttgart linebacker Nick Konecki forces the fumble, and Nico Hobbs will scoop, and you know the rest. You go, Nico. Stuttgart's up 14-0. Final score, Stuttgart 35, Heber Springs 7. What does Kansas State see in Nashville's quarterback A.J. Whitmore? If you ask the visiting Mena Bearcats Friday night, what don't you see? Whitmore can run. This sweet jaunt set up a short Nashville touchdown to put the Scrappers up 35-7, and of course Whitmore can pass. This strike to Tyler Serrano put Nashville up 42-7. Listen to this. In the first half, Whitmore had 193 yards passing and 5 touchdowns. That's why Kansas State likes him. And if you live in Central Arkansas and want to see him, next Friday night, Whitmore and the Scrappers play at Central Arkansas Christian. Final score from Friday night, Nashville 49, Mena 20. Dardanelle lost in overtime last year to Clinton. Friday night, Dardanelle looking for some payback and turning number 9, Kevin Young, loose for a Sand Lizard touchdown. That put Dardanelle up by 1. This ball game was back and forth all night, and just like last year, we're headed for overtime. Clinton gets the ball first in OT, hands off to Waylon Bramlett, who fumbles. Dardanelle's got it. No, it's still loose in the end zone, and Clinton's wily Tester recovers to put the Yellow Jackets up, but their 2-point try failed, and Dardanelle has a chance to win. The Sand Lizards run it on 3 straight plays. Then, facing 4th and goal at the 2, here's your ball game. Dardanelle hands it to C.J. Chatton, but he's met and stopped by guess who? Bramlett. The guy that just fumbled into the end zone makes the game-saving tackle. Final score in overtime. Clinton 27, Dardanelle 21.
Well, you know, we're winning overtime. It's just like last year. It's nerve-wracking. Come over here and I said a prayer right over there, and it comes up, I fumbled, and then I thought, oh God, and then we recovered and scored a touchdown. And then on that last play, I said another little prayer, and then just right then that hole opened up, and said there ain't no better chance now, and I just gave it and went for it. And luckily, I made the tackle, grabbed him up, and brought him down.
Central Arkansas Christian looking for its first back-to-back wins of the season, playing host to Fountain Lake. And look at CAC's Joe Adams. He put CAC up 21-0 early, but Fountain Lake's Cobras strike back. And Drew Davis going 15 yards for the Fountain Lake touchdown, but that was as close as the Cobras would get. Final score, CAC 42, Fountain Lake 19.
Not making a lot of mistakes, but you have got to be wild and reckless. You have got to be wild and reckless.
The wild, reckless, and undefeated Pocahontas Redskins take it on Rivercrest Friday night at Wilson. And on the banks of the Mississippi River, Rivercrest is down 6-0 early when senior Danton Jackson battles to reach the goal line for Rivercrest. And on the first play of the second quarter, Rivercrest goes to their 230-pound fullback. It's John Walker crashing in for the score. Rivercrest 7, Pokey 6. But Pocahontas storms back. Watch this on 4th and inches at the Rivercrest 25. Junior Ben Hibbert, he bounces outside and cuts it up for the Pokey touchdown, and the Redskins pull away to win their second big game in 5 days. Pokey beat Osceola Monday, Rivercrest Friday. Final score, number 5 Pocahontas 27, Rivercrest 14. So Stuttgart stays on top of Hooten's Arkansas football Class 4A rankings. They've been there since the magazine hit newsstands on July 4th. The Hootens had Warren favored by 35, and the Lumberjacks covered, beating Star City 42-7. Nashville and CAC will play next week at Mustang Mountain. That will decide the 7-4A conference title. There's Pokey after 2 big wins at number 5, followed by Gosnell, Ashdown, Dollarway, Hamburg, and the Farmington Cardinals. Farmington's win over Prairie Grove likely means the Cardinals are going to win the 1-4A title. Ozark starts the second 10, followed by the Rebels, the Bearcats. Osceola at number 14 is in trouble. The Seminoles have lost 4 games this year and are winless in conference play. Marianna, on the other hand, is rolling. The Trojans have racked up nearly 100 points over the past 2 weeks. Heber Springs is at number 16 this week, followed by Clinton, Truman, Newport, and Prairie Grove. Then it's the Red Bugs, the Sand Lizards, McGee, Greenland, and Dumas, which led Dollarway by 14 points at halftime on Friday before giving up 4 straight touchdowns. Coming up next, more of Hooten's Arkansas football Class 3A and 2A highlights are straight ahead. It's Saturday night, and you're watching Hooten's Arkansas football.
Now, more of Hooten's Arkansas football, brought to you by Big Red Fina.
And we begin our Class 3A highlights in Springdale. Shiloh Christian going elk hunting, taking on the Elkins Elks. The Saints were already up 14-0 in the first quarter when backup quarterback Austin Tucker puts it up high for Crosby Tuck, who pulls it out of the air. Tucker has stepped in admirably for the Saints, and Shiloh's defense playing great as well, holding Elkins to less than 150 total yards. Final score, number 1 Shiloh 52, Elkins 0. Episcopal Collegiate knocked Harmony Grove out of the playoffs last year, but Friday night in Little Rock, Harmony Grove controlled the clock and the game. Quarterback Mason Stone handed it to Jimmy Desmond for a pair of short touchdown runs early, and the Hornets get a little revenge. Final score, Harmony Grove 37, Episcopal 7. And we wrap up our Class 3A highlights with the top 5 shootout. Harding Academy playing host to Mayflower. And check out Mayflower's Justin Harrell stepping up. And he's gone. Mayflower, the underdog, is up 25-12 in the third quarter. But Harding Academy storms back. Quarterback Luke Tribble and Chris Pack connect on this 4th and goal play. That gets Harding back in it. Then Harding would take the lead for good with 9 minutes left. Tribble lost a perfect pass to Ty Finley. 33-yard touchdown. And Coach Tommy Shoemaker gets his 100th win at Harding Academy. Final score, Harding Academy 28, Mayflower 25.
Awesome win. I couldn't have picked a better night in a better scenario to be down, to have a gut check, and find out what it's like to really be a Harding Academy Wildcat.
Now that's the Class 3A highlights. We have AA coming up in just a second. First, a look at the AAA poll. Shiloh continues to dominate, and Bauxite's not having any trouble either. Hooten's Arkansas football predicted Harding Academy over Mayflower, and that's exactly what happened. Those two teams swapped spots this week. The rest of the top 10 stays the same, with Harrisburg at 6th and its West Fork, Harmony Grove, the Beavers, and Hector. Charleston and Lamar switch places, while Atkins rises to number 13. Perryville, which won its 4th game in a row, is number 14, then it's Prescott at 15. Cedarville, Corning, and Barton all make big jumps into the top 20. Lake Village and YELLVILLE-SUMMIT also vaulted up, while Hoxie, Risen, Paris, and Episcopal fall after losses, and Mansfield rounds out the top 25.
Come on, buckle them up. We're going to war. Man, that's absolutely, positively the sweetest sound in the world. When you buckle up those chin straps, fellas, I mean, there's not any other sport, there's not anything else but football where that occurs. And football's a game of contact.
Coach Segrist in Mineral Springs strapping it on for the visiting Hampton Bulldogs, but the Dogs would take the first bite. Sophomore Charles Coker with the pick on Mineral's first possession, but Mineral's defense bowed up, the Hornets forced to punt, and senior stud Cedric Smith takes over. This guy is good. Almost 4,000 career yards at Mineral, and that would set up talented teammate Justin Junell. He's got the corner, and over the past 2.5 years, the Mineral Springs Hornets are undefeated at home. Final score, Mineral Springs 34, Hampton 14. From Mineral Springs in deep southwest Arkansas to Mark Tree in extreme northeast Arkansas. An overflow crowd on hand for the Indians playing host to Cross County, a top 5 matchup here. And we pick it up with Mark Tree holding a 7-0 lead late in the 4th quarter and Cross County needing a stop. And look at senior Brian Hopkins making the diving interception for Cross County, but they say the Thunderbirds roughed the passer before the interception. Mark Tree keeps the ball and the Indians would not pass again. Senior tailback Brian Coleman had 35 carries for 150 grueling yards, and Coleman is going to hammer in for the game-clinching touchdown. Final score, Mark Tree 13, Cross County 0.
So bring up a second night for the Panthers.
That's the Bigelow radio team, Craig Newmeyer and Dr. Ray Owen making the trip down to Murfreesboro, and Bigelow's bringing the heat.
Looking, a hit hard right there by Chris Gunther as Chris gets to him.
Big hit, but Bigelow trailed by 7 at halftime, and the Rattlers strike quick. Ben Chaney taking it the distance for Murfreesboro. The Rattlers had 2 picks in the second half. Both led to touchdowns. And here's more of your Murfreesboro Rattlers. Quarterback Mark McCray and DeMarco White put this one out of reach. Next week, Mount Ida comes to the Rattlers' den. Final score, Murfreesboro 35, Bigelow 14.
Now the fun starts. It's conference time. Mount Ida comes here next week. They come here next week.
Our defense really stepped it up in the second half. We had, I think, 2 or 3 picks in the second half, and that really helped us out to pull through the victory tonight.
Hooten's preseason #1 Junction City is still on top and looking good after 5 weeks. Jessieville moves up to number 2 this week after getting past tenacious Mount Ida on the road. Mark Tree takes over the number 3 spot after shutting down Cross County on Friday night. The Thunderbirds flopped in the 3AA conference title game and moved down to number 4 this week. Bearden pops Parker's Chapel and sticks at number 5. Desart, Mineral Springs, Derricks, the Earl Bulldogs, and Murfreesboro all won convincingly Friday. Spring Hill conquered Mountain Pine with ease. Number 12 Foreman had the week off. The Gators traveled to Derricks next week for a key 7AA West battle. Mount Ida lost to Jessieville by 8 points, exactly as predicted by Hootens.com. Undefeated Carlisle heads to Hazen next week, looking to avenge last year's embarrassing 34-6 loss to the Hornets. The Danville Littlejohns handed Western Yale County its 4th loss on Friday. There's no changes in number 16 through 20, with Northwood posting the only W, and that was a forfeit from Strong. Bigelow, Augusta, Walnut Ridge, Strong, and Cutter Morning Star round out the top 25.
Now, the ConocoPhillips Spirit Student of the Week.
Levaca Golden Arrow cheerleader Ashley Jones hits the mark on the field, on the court, and in the classroom. Ashley is cheer co-captain, plays volleyball, runs track, is a senior class officer, and more, plus is a top classroom performer.
It's hard sometimes to keep everything up and be as active as I am. I just try to remember my priorities, keep everything straight, and try to maintain a balance.